is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Anthem of Impact Wrestling Show. I am your host, Jason, and today I will be reviewing, I know it's a little late, but I'm reviewing Destination X and all the craziness that came out of it. Before I even jump into Destination X, if you guys are out there, GFW fans, not watching their YouTube channel, you're missing out. Some things that they do post up like during the week, almost like hype packages and stuff, you'll see on the show. But I'm talking about on Thursday, they'll throw out the first words and the last words, and then the inside outs. Obviously, if you watch the show, you don't need to see that in case you missed it. But you need to watch those. They're utilizing those so well in developing characters, furthering storylines, and giving you an exclusive type content in some cases that we definitely saw Thursday night after Destination X went off the air. And I'll get into that at the end because there's one specific video that definitely I personally think is very important, and if anybody hasn't seen it yet, you'll have to go see it. And like I said, I'll talk about it then, but it definitely plays into what happened on the show. Excuse me. Overall, guys, I thought this show definitely delivered. There were some things that I'll bring up that I guess you could say I had a problem with. It didn't affect how I thought the show was overall. If the show was a success, I definitely think it was. Just certain things that I guess I'm cautious about. I'm not going to say worried. I'm going to say cautious. But I thought overall the show was good. The matches were good. Really hate that they didn't go ahead and crown a new champion on the show. I've said this in several different videos before. And I definitely said this in the preview in my prediction show. And that is, you have, other titles I would also like to not have defended on a tape show, but you definitely can't have your main title wrestled or defended and possibly change hands on a taped show. You just can't. I know that they have to go about having every week, seem important, but you could. Instead of having that really, even though it was important, that really long segment with Pritchard and Cornette. Maybe make that a little bit smaller, kind of streamline that, and set up like what my idea was is a King of the Mountain match, or kind of do like a Final Four thing. So you had two more. You added basically two more matches. Could have done the Bobby Lashley, Matt Sydal versus Low Ki and somebody else. All the people. Think about all the people that weren't on the show. John Morrison, who had a debut package at the end of the show. Eli Drake wasn't on the show. EC3 wasn't on the show. Even just to kind of get him in there, whether you had him plans on winning, Moose could have been in there. Eddie Edwards, you could have put a lot of different people in that Final Four situation, and then possibly crown that new champion that night. Because so far I've been pretty good about not seeing too many other spoilers. But the most important one was ruined. And that sucks. I'm very interested to see how it happens. If some of you lucky people out there have not seen the spoiler for next week, I'm not going to say what it is or who it is, but it's been known now that a certain somebody, and it must be something that Impact's doing, because I saw him interact. The person who ends up winning next week, he interacted with a fan on Twitter, because they said, hey, they need to put the strap on you, and he was like, well, they did, so, so if he's spoiling it, it must be a company thing that Global Force is kind of wanting that to leak out there. In fact, I'm not sure because I haven't seen it on Facebook, but BQ said that Impact's Facebook page, I guess, also announced who the winner was, because they crowned him that night. So that Destination X show was on a tape delay, and then they recorded what's going to be this Thursday show like right after. Um, so, I don't know what's all going on with that, but yeah. So, like I said, overall, I thought it was a really good show. We'll go ahead and dive on into it and break this show down, and I'll give you my opinions on how it all went down. So we start off with a pretty cool new little opening, kind of really showing where they're at, why they are global, what channels they're on in those countries. A pretty cool little video, just kind of showing that they are global. And then they cut to backstage, American Top Team showing up with Bobby Lashley, and of course Jeff Jarrett stops Dan Lambert and starts talking to him. And that kind of clearly set up what the wheels in motion of that story, what was going to happen throughout the night. Then they go back to Mackenzie Mitchell, who is backstage. She's wanting to hear what Bruce Pritchard's big announcement's going to be, see if she can't get a quick scoop from Bruce. But Bruce was not in the office. Some mystery guy was. Who is it? We will soon find out. But we start off with what I thought was just an amazing match. Again, all these matches, except for one, I would say, just knocked it out of the park. They hit expectations. They were all really good. But we have Gail Kim versus Sienna for the Global Force Knockouts title. One thing was I kind of wish they kind of would have opened up with the ceremony of with all the different champions in the ring, and maybe like Jeff and Dutch or Bruce, whatever, and reveal each one to them, and then they would have them out throughout the rest of the night. Because whenever you're revealing, they revealed it earlier during the day, and I thought that was kind of like, okay, you're kind of ruining it. Like, I kind of like, those things should be kind of big deals, and should be something that you're like, look at this beautiful thing, not just all of a sudden they're walking out with titles. They're just walking out the new ones all of a sudden. But, that's a little nitpick. Looks like we also, one thing I noticed too whenever they went to this match, we've got green ropes. So, definitely taking on that full look of Global Force Wrestling. For the people that have been watching the Amped Anthology, they know what I'm talking about. I thought this match was really good. Gail Kim has not lost a step at all. She was killing it. She had some of the crazy moves. That weird, like, jumping Scorpion Death Drop was awesome. She was flipping all around Sienna. Sienna was really looking good in this match too, and her power and the different choke moves that she was doing. I just thought they both looked great. It was a great match. I can't wait to see these guys go at it again. I think, because I think, whatever story goes on from here, I don't know. Because out of nowhere, while KM and Gail have the referee distracted, this lady runs into the ring, just waiting for Gail. But we can't tell who it is until she hits a cutter on Gail Kim, and we see who it finally is, and it's the return of the ever so wonderful, beautiful Taryn Terrell. I'm not even lying, guys, I absolutely marked out. I was like, oh! I did the whole the surrender cobra, like, oh! Taryn Terrell was one of those that grew on me big time whenever she was first there. I was kind of like, why did they bring her in? She was like a nothing weird, nothing person to WWE. Is it just to get a WWE name in? What is it? And then she had her matches with Gail. She is amazing. And there was I can't remember how long ago it was. It might have been a month, might have been just a couple weeks ago whenever she came back to Twitter and Instagram, and I actually think it did happen on a Thursday night. Can't remember. But she kind of made like a big deal, like, hey guys, I'm back, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't even think about it necessarily, but I think Karen Jarrett retweeted and was like, welcome back. But right then and there, I know I said to myself when I saw that she was back, and I might have tweeted her about it too, I can't remember, but Because I knew she had retired because she was kind of wanting to get away from that stuff and trying to like become more mature. I'm not sure if she was trying to, kind of go born again Christian or anything like that. I can't remember. But I know that she retired because she just didn't want to do what she was doing, especially with her having kids. Kids now, she didn't want that, to be on TV or whatever. Um, but whenever she came back to Twitter, I was thinking, man, I wonder if this means like she's gonna come back to wrestling. I didn't know Impact, but like I wonder if she would ever give that a try, or she's just coming back onto Twitter to be like, just to be on Twitter again, or um, whatever. But I was like, if she is starting to come back into like the limelight and do acting again and her stunt woman stuff and everything else, I'm like, man, I'd really like for her to come back to the Knockouts division. I think she would be really good. I would love to see her get in matches like with Rosemary and Sienna. Looks like maybe Sienna and Tara might be on the same page, same side as of right now with stories. But yeah, and then all of a sudden she debuted, and I was like, man, that's awesome. I'm so glad this happened. Um, and I am. I love Taryn Terrell. I think she's awesome. Uh, but of course, that led to Sienna to get back into the ring, hit her AK-47, and get the win. So this is very interesting. See where they go with this. I thought the match, like I said, was really good. You got the shocking return of Taryn Terrell. Loved it. I loved everything about it. Then we get, unfortunately, what I thought was a segment that went a little too long for my liking. It was a very important one, big storyline segment here. Um, but I just thought maybe it went a little too long. Um, and I'll tell you here in a second, as I go through it, I'll tell you where they could have cut some of this stuff out. And I don't know if it was just due to them being more unscripted or if they had to stall because of the fact that they weren't going to do that other match, right? But Bruce Pritchard comes out and he's ready to give his big announcement, the news on the title. He's carrying the title out. He's out there, reads a statement saying, Alberto El Patron gave up his title so he can work on his family and other things. One thing that I thought it was interesting that he said was, all we've talked about, or all we've heard actual news wise, is that that he's still suspended. They just don't know when he'll be back, and then that he was stripped of the title and all this other stuff. Um, but nothing like he was fired or he left or anything like that. But then Bruce said, future endeavors. So I thought that was interesting. But at the same time, Bruce, pretty much everything Bruce said was null and void because because he got fired by the returning Jim Cornette. So Bruce says, now that since I've got so much power, I can do what I want. I feel like we should just give this back to the previous owner. So I'm giving the title back to Walking Armageddon, Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's music hits, but Bobby Lashley does not come out. No, it is the return of James E. Cornette. Here's my quick little 2 cents on Jim Cornette coming in. He's got a great mind for the business. There's no doubt about that. He's a great character to have. But for the longest time now, he's he does a lot of bashing on like the younger independent talent, possible talent that we would want to have come into Global Force Wrestling. And I mean, not all of them, but even though he might only be mainly, it was like Kevin Steen, or it was, I think, obviously the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Joey Ryan, certain people like that. Now, yeah, they probably don't have a chance to get some of those guys, especially right now. But other young talent that might be considered those guys' friends that would be able to come to Impact or would think that that's a good destination for them. Maybe now might not because they don't want to work with that guy. I don't know. I could be totally off base on that. That's just my only worry, my concern about having Jim Cornette in Global Force Wrestling. But here's where they could have cut a lot of stuff out. Cornette could have just cut straight to the chase and been like, look, Anthem, I'm now working for Anthem Entertainment, Sports Entertainment. I am their wrestling consultant. And because they know that they've made some mistakes in the wrestling business and they've been taken advantage of certain people, and they do not want that to happen anymore. And you, sir, are one of those people, and you're fired. Something like, just make it a little bit quicker. But they were like kind of going back and forth, just like, hey, yeah, we're buddies, yeah, we are, but I kind of hate you. Well, I kind of hate you too. Well, I know who you really are. Well, I know who you really are. Okay, whoa, what's going on? I don't know. How about a Dairy Queen order? Like, it was too much back and forth between them of really getting nowhere. Don't care. Get to the point. Fire at him. He fires back. Blah, blah, blah. Because then the segment finally picked up after he actually fired Bruce. And then Jim Cornette said what he needed to say. And that was absolutely amazing. From then on, segment was great. That was gold. That was an amazing segment. And it was him coming out and saying, it's a new day in Global Force Wrestling from here on out. No more will big names come into this company for a vacation and just be handed things. A lot of fans needed to hear that. Even fans like myself who I never really was ever too mad about it because I was always in the mindset of, look, you get your main title on a well-known guy, it might bring in some other casual fans. But I think, as well, you already have like there's a good section of us hardcore Impact fans that always watch, and always will watch. There's a lot of other hardcore wrestling fans that don't like Impact, and a lot of their gripes is because they just pick up random WWE guys and make them stars. Well, that's one of the things I kind of liked about Impact. We took a guy like Christian that was nothing more than a European champion, or I think he might have held the IC title like once or something like that, once or twice. He was never going to get above that. But he came to TNA and proved that that dude was a star, and he was a world champion, and we gave him that chance, and we rebuilt him so that whenever he did go back to the WWE, he was legit, and he started wrestling against guys like Randy Orton and winning World Heavyweight Championships. I know not much, just like the one or maybe two, and it was never the WWE belt. It was the big gold belt. But that's one of the things I liked about Impact. They were creating new stars, and they were giving people that weren't getting a fair shake of creative or a chance in another company to come in and prove it. But yeah, you start doing that too much. There was no need. I liked that Mick Foley came in, but there was no need to ever put the title on Mick Foley. I don't care how intriguing the story was with him and Sting. The title should have never been on him. It just shouldn't have been. Guys like that. They're just other cases of just WWE guys coming in, and it's never kind of really panning out. And that's a shame, but so I like what he said there. I think there's a hardcore fan base that doesn't like seeing that wants to see other indie guys. I think secretly there's a lot of people that hate. Sorry, I'm going off way off on a tangent here. I think there's certain hardcore wrestling fans that wish Impact was Ring of Honor, because Impact clearly has better production, has a bigger audience. I personally think it has better talent, but I think they want what Ring of Honor does as far as have, that New Japan relationship, brings up newcomers all the time. A bunch of indie stars, and it's indie wrestling. I think they want Impact to be that, but just on a bigger scale. And whenever Impact kind of got away from that, or TNA got away from that, and they started bringing in more like ex WWE guys, where you had Angle, Nash, Booker, Scott Steiner, and just a bunch of old guys kind of came in, kind of ran things for a minute, the Team 3Ds and all this stuff, and got away from, the Naturals, got away from America's Most Wanted, got away from Triple X, those type of things. They kind of soured on it. That's whenever all of a sudden Ring of Honor did start to get popular again. And I guess it's funny because I've been watching a lot of YouTube shows here lately, trying to get caught up because I haven't been able to watch in a while. And because everybody's talking about GFW with this new show, what happened on Destination X, and a lot of them were still ranking like Ring of Honor as like the number 2 to 3 company. Definitely, like a lot of them were saying they're number 2 company in America, but they're like 3 behind New Japan worldwide. Like that's hashtag fake news. Okay, I know you guys might hate Impact Wrestling and Global Force Wrestling, but Global Force Wrestling is the number 2, definitely number 2 company in the country, possibly the number 2 country in the world. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. It's just facts. You've got one. They have the second biggest American audience, right? Because nobody's watching whatever the hell channel that they're on now. Ring of Honor. They do a bunch of random Sinclair broadcasting at like midnight and affiliates, and then they're on Comet, or didn't they just leave Comet now or something? They're on some other random I've never heard of channel. All right, and then New Japan, and I don't even think Ring of Honor is available around the world unless they like subscribe to their streaming service or whatever on their crappy website. And then you got New Japan. They're available in New Japan, or they're available in Japan, and then they've got their streaming service. So Impact is literally available all over the world. Now the next place they need to do is Mexico, obviously, but they're available here on a fairly popular television company. They're available on Spike UK, Sony 6 in India, I believe in Germany. I think they've got one in Australia now. I don't know. Watch the opening video because they show you everything. So I think that's kind of like the little hidden thing in there. A lot of hardcore wrestling fans that keep shitting on GFW is because that they're mad that they aren't technically Ring of Honor. So again, Jim Cornette saying that people are fighting for their chances. They're gonna give chances to the young and upcoming guys. I think is a good thing to start bringing in the other hardcore fans, and then once that group of fans has expanded, then maybe you can start going back after like a possible casual fan. But from right there, Jim Cornette just killed it. Thought that was great. Everything that he said was awesome. Announces next week a 20-man gauntlet match for the title will be next week on Impact, which then of course brings out LAX, and they complain about it that Low Ki has to keep jumping through hoops, but Jim Cornette says, listen, I totally agree with you. I feel bad for you, Low Ki, so you will be the number 20th entrant in the gauntlet match next week. So I look forward to that. Definitely look forward to that because, again, like I said, I unfortunately now know who does win, but now I'm really interested to see how this plays out because of who's going in at number 20 and how that whole story goes. Excuse me. All right. So we go to Desmond Xavier versus Ishimori in the finals of the Super X Cup. Wow, what a great match. This match right here is the X Division. Is what the X Division's always been. It's more than just high flying. The X Division was never a cruiserweight division. I know a lot of people like to think that. The X Division was basically indie wrestling division. That's what the X Division really was whenever it first was getting started. And I think there's an interview where Jeff has even said that. You know, he saw what was happening in the indie wrestling scene and what the style was, and he wanted that as a full division. You know, yeah, were they the smaller guys? Sure, yeah. But I mean, you also had, man, who else wrestled some X Division matches? Obviously, Samoa Joe is the one that comes to mind. Um, but you know, it's not like Jerry Lynn was a small dude. Um, you had Jerry Lynn. You had A1. I think A1 wrestled in a couple X Division matches actually too. You had Sonny Siaki at one point. I mean, none of those guys. It was an indie wrestling type style. Now you do look at indie wrestling, especially now. They are smaller guys because it's more about what you can do instead of, you know, your physique. And a lot of independent wrestling. So yeah, so I thought this match was absolutely amazing. And it was really good. And then you could tell whenever you could tell it started to get to the ending sequence, there's a lot more, you know, false finishes and this and that. All that stuff took it to the next level. All the crazy moves that they were pulling out. Man, it was crazy. And Desmond Xavier, they're definitely pushing Desmond as far as to be that guy that's hard to put down. And because he's been kicking out a lot of stuff here the last couple matches. And, you know, Desmond Xavier pulls it out, gets the win. You know, I picked him from the beginning. Just felt like they were definitely pushing him. Just the way commentators would talk about him, the packages, the video backstage packages that they were doing of him. And then, of course, you know, he comes out and challenges whoever will have the X Division by the end of the night. He's coming for it. And I think Desmond Xavier he's a star. And he's going to be the future of the X Division. And I think, personally, he's going to be that next guy that's going to be X Division, and then he's going to move up. But after that, we get backstage segment, which I absolutely loved this backstage segment. We have Grado backstage, kind of looking worried, saying, "This is it. I can't believe no more America. No more American food. Oh!" Joseph Park comes up and he says, "You know what? You're right. You're done. This is it. You're done." And absolutely starts throwing some shade on some folks. People that come to mind are Shane Helms, Tyrus, Mike and Maria, the Hardys. Just saying, you know, but you're not, this might be your last, you might be done, you might be leaving, but you're not gonna, what do you say? But you're not gonna leave the company and then start bad-mouthing the company on Twitter. No. Oh, man. You know, Chris Park, the man behind the mask of Abyss, who is also playing his alter ego, his split personality, whatever you want to call this, Joseph Park. And the Joseph Park character, he has thrown out some good one-liners. Kind of like how we called Bully Ray a jobber, and how we beat Bully Ray, the jobber Bully Ray. And then this thumbs up, you know, that was good. Good job. So we have that next week. That'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. Now, we get to. I wanted to call this the match of the night until the main event, but we'll get to that. So this one is like 1B. Sanjay Dutt versus Trevor Lee in an X Division match, ladder match for that title. Started off fast paced, like they jumped right into it, and just again some crazy moves, some stiff bumps with the ladders and everything else. Good back and forth, really good struggle. They both showed how much both of them have to have that title, and that's kind of the purpose of the ladder match, right? Because now you're willing to go through anything, and you're literally in desperate need to go get that title. And I just thought the match was just really good. man, just all over the place. It was super good. Um, then all of a sudden, Sanjay looks like he's about to win. Out comes Caleb Conley, knocks Sanjay off through a table, which looked very brutal. Um, I wish they kind of would have. I guess, I mean, they did mention that they've kind of been talking backstage about forming an alliance. Um, that would make a really good team. In fact, it'd make a really good tag team. Um, so that was really interesting in that, but it kind of came out of nowhere. That was Caleb Conley. Then what happened next, even more out of nowhere, guy comes running in, looks from like the stands, has like a hoodie on, hits Caleb Conley, and reveals himself, turns around to the camera, and the Maple Leaf Muscle himself, Petey effin' Williams, is back. Oh, and what a hell of a Canadian destroyer he put on him. Uh, if he can only wrestle Caleb Conley and just kind of keep doing Canadian destroyers, that'd be awesome. Because Caleb Conley's super athletic, and Caleb, just as much as Petey, Caleb made that move look amazing. Um, so Petey's back, and of course, so that kind of squashes both interferences. They go back at it. Sanjay and Trevor Lee go back at it, and eventually Sanjay does get the better of Trevor and up on top of that ladder and grabs that title and keeps his X Division title. Match was just really good. Plus, you had the backstage. Match. You had the big backstage. You had the big returns. Man, just everything was just so good about this match. Just really enjoyed it. Then we get the debut of OVE, Ohio versus Everything, and they went up against their good friends, Zach Wentz and Jason Cade. I figured, I know a while back, whenever the rumors that they had signed Dave and Jay Chris, that they were also signing Desmond Xavier and then Zachary Wentz, who was in this match. And he looked really good in this match. So I don't know if he is signed or if they just brought him in because him and Zach Wentz and Jason Cade can work well with OVE. It was just a really weird match to have as a debut match because it wasn't a squash. I mean, the first thing we saw was Zach Wentz giving whichever Krista was, I can't remember, a knee to the head, and kind of dominated for a minute. Like, it was just really weird. The entrance was cool. Could have changed with some lighting stuff, but I love the mask things. I think it's really cool. It's gonna be interesting to see where they actually go. Like now that the debut thing is over with, how do they get integrated into what's happening in Global Force? What kind of stories are going to be in? What kind of actual characters are we seeing here? It'd be interesting to see with that. But overall, once like OVE kind of had some of the momentum and started doing a lot of like their tag team moves and their crazy like kicks and strikes and everything, then they were impressive. It was just a really weird put together match, and I don't know if it was them trying to let their buddy shine a minute with this opportunity. I don't know, or if this is how they let the match get laid out. I don't know. It was just really odd. But OVE does win. It's gonna be this tag division's gonna be really good now though. Then we go backstage, and Jim Cornette's on the phone, but then you see 3 and Moose walk up and say, "Hey, we want to be in this gauntlet match. We better be in this gauntlet match." He's like, "Of course you guys are. You're obviously 2 of the top 20 talents on the roster. Of course you're going to be in it." Then comes Eli Drake and Adonis. And they're saying, well, mainly Eli saying, "I better be in this because I'm, in fact, I don't even need to be in this because you just need to hand me the belt because I am the number 1 guy in the company. I am the future. I am Eli Drake." Yeah, dummy. So, Jim Cornette says, "You know what? You're right. Adonis, you're in, and Eli, you're in too. But since you think you're number 1, That's the spot you're going to have. You're going to have the number one spot. And as soon as he said that, I was like, ooh, I think Eli might win. Because they're making it a story, right? And it's the... So... But that's usually the story that's saved for the babyface. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to try to turn Eli face. I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, I'm very intrigued because you have Loki, who seemed all signs were pointing to him winning it at number 20. And then you have a storyline reason for Eli being number 1. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how this all plays out, though. I really can't. Even though now that I know the winner, I don't... Like, it's still... Those two stories still intrigue me to see how this all pans out to get to where the winner is there. I am intrigued by that. But then we get to the match of the night. The main event. Bobby Lashley versus Matt Sydal. This match was super stiff. Bobby was going hard because he can, because he's just so much bigger than Matt. He can really throw Sydal around, and Sydal is willing to take those hits and take those spots and sell like crazy. He was really good, and both guys had their different moments with their different styles, let different things shine. Yeah, my notes are wrote. This is a main event, damn straight. That was this match was just so good. I as soon as I have some more free time, I will watch that again. I cannot wait. That was so good. And Bobby Lashley brings in the steel chair. I thought that was a great use of the chair in the spot to really kind of get that story moved along and really giving a reason as to why Sydal can win it and Lashley ends up losing. Of course, that whole thing happens. He the spot with the chair. Then he hits the shooting star press. Doesn't get the 3 count. Couple other moves. Sydal's in the corner. Lashley goes in. Sydal moves for the spear. Hits the turnbuckle. Quick roll up 1, 2, 3. Matt Sydal is your winner, and he will now have a shot at... I'm guessing he's still the one going after. He will go after the winner of the Gauntlet match. Is what I'm guessing, and I can't wait to see that. I think Sydal is a good talent. After the matches, they're heading back to the ramp. Brian Hebner's there, raising the hand of Matt Sydal, and of course, Lashley's got his American Top Team there. Can't remember who it was, but one of the MMA guys grabs Brian Hebner and gives him a choke, starts choking him out. Of course, Lashley runs over. They from right here on, they did a great job of just really making it seem pretty realistic, fairly real, and I thought it was just done really well and really cool. So then all of a sudden, Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? There's a segment we need to shoot. Okay, well, I guess roll the set. Whatever. And it's a package for Johnny Mundo. Johnny is coming next week, and I guess he's gonna be going by Johnny Impact. That's fine, Johnny Impact. That's actually a really cool name. It kind of makes me think of like Johnny Bravo, Johnny Impact. I've seen some people complain about that name, like, oh, that's not very creative. Give me a name that John Hennigan has had that's been like super clever. But it all has to deal with his like egotistical gimmick that he has, right? So it's Johnny Nitro because he's on fire, that he came up with that. Then you had John Morrison. But once you really kind of took that same Jim Morrison egotistical character and moved on, everywhere he's been, he has his name plus something that has to do with, like, Johnny Mundo. Okay, whenever he went to Lucha Underground, he changed his name to Johnny Mundo. It's just it's Johnny plus something. Now it's Johnny Impact. Why? Because he is, in his eyes, he's His name's Johnny, and he's going to take over Impact. He's not. They're not trying to put it off like Impact is his real last name or something. You know, like, I'm not upset about this last name at all. I think this name, Johnny Impact, is really cool. It's catchy, it's short, sweet, and it goes with this gimmick. But I'm really excited to see what Johnny Impact has in store for Global Force Wrestling. Can't wait to see some of the matchups that they're going to have. Now, this is what I'm telling you about, not every week do they have something that's really important on their YouTube show, or on their YouTube channel. But they have things that'll just be kind of subtle. They did a lot of the Bruce Pritchard stuff that was just kind of subtle there. They did some of the LAX stuff. It was good. And how this one. This was by far the coolest little segment. And again, if you guys haven't seen this yet, go see it. Go look at Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel and go to Last Word. And you will see one that says something about like Lashley or American Top Team or Jeff Jarrett confronts American Top Team, something like that. So again, it's their backstage stuff, so it looks very documentary style filming. And Dan Lambert and American Top Team are coming through the curtain by Gorilla, and there's Jeff Jarrett right there yelling at him and going off. I'm like, how dare you? You guys are our guests, and you treat us like that, blah, 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 going off on him. And Dan Lambert's like, oh, man, we're doing you a favor, and blah, blah, blah. And, they're both kind of trying to tell Bobby what to do. Like, Bobby, just go get dressed. Bobby, just leave. Just go. And because Bobby's trying to get in between and be like, hey, listen, stop, guys. Stop. I thought Bobby did a really good job kind of playing this down like he doesn't want to choose sides. And, he's kind of being nice to both guys, but just telling both guys, like, chill. Just, guys, come on, stop. He was doing a really good job of that. Jeff's going off on Dan. They're going off on them. Then, they're getting all in a big skirmish. What's really cool is you also had some other people, like, randomly by the group as if, this is something that would definitely be happening in real life as far as if there's, like, a big commotion. Everybody's doing this, right, with their phone. You had a couple people, like, videotaping it, kind of standing in the background, like, videotaping, like, oh, man, this is cool. We're about to see a fight. People going off. Russ come running back, trying to hold back Jeff and Dan. Then you had Earl Hebner coming up, like he's going to do something to Dan Lambert, but, getting into his face. So then you had a couple of the other guys, like, pushing Earl. And, of course, Earl's, like, fucking 105 years old. So you don't want MMA fighters trying to push that guy. So everybody else is getting into it with them then and, yelling at him. And it was like really well done. And then out of nowhere, here comes the cowboy, James Storm. And he went off. And he was, I know everybody has seen this at a bar. And I grew up in like a real small town in Nixon, Missouri. And you see a lot of these like country boys, cowboys, we're drinking beer and somebody does something to piss somebody off and they just go off and it's just cuss words flying left and right and you get the out of here, going off, and James just played the part perfect. And so this just has me super intrigued. Like I said, please go watch that. Like, that needs to be a must see, because I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be a huge story going on with that. I just feel it. Might not be right away through these tapings, but I guarantee by Bound for Glory, there's gonna be a big match. And I don't know if it's gonna be Storm Lashley or if it's gonna be more like an America Top Team versus, because they got involved for a reason, okay? If it could be America Top Team versus Global Force. It would be a little hokey. It would be a little Vince Russo-ish, but maybe a Lashley contract would be at stake of that. I don't know. But yeah, guys, go watch that YouTube clip. Yeah, I can't wait to see what keeps happening. I've seen a lot of people tweet on Twitter. Tweet on Twitter, is that what we do? Tweet on Twitter. Tweet out stuff like, these tapings were really good. They're really interesting. It definitely feels like it's a change, and everything's great. That I'm so happy about all of that. Not that I had any problems with necessarily what was going on before, but I always like seeing change and people grow and the company evolve. So I'm really interested to see how it's going to go down and how things are going to look. So yeah, can't wait for Thursday night. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Go check out some of my other videos. If you guys, this is your first time seeing me do something, go check out some of my other videos. Should be doing a pro wrestling crate unboxing here soon as I get it. Hopefully it'll be Monday. I thought I was getting it Saturday, but I don't know what happened. Hopefully it'll be here Monday then, and I'll be able to do another pro wrestling crate unboxing. Yeah, also go hit me up on Twitter at Anthem of Impact. Yeah, I never know how to necessarily finish these. How about I just awkwardly stare? No, I was kidding. Anyway, guys, I will see you next week whenever I review Impact Wrestling after next Thursday. So, peace.